Welcome again to my course, Working in Child Protection Field. Our topic today is communication with children. The key to gaining a child's trust is good and effective communication with him or her. We as child protection workers should have strong communication skills that understands the child world and that enables us to deliver the best possible services to children smoothly and safely without causing any harm or damage to children or to families. The method of communication with children is completely different from communication with adults. Even sometimes each child has his or her own method of communication. In general, we can set basic rules for communication with children, but before that, we must understand and remember the following points. Children do not interpret incidents, matters, and situations the way adults do. And it is difficult to teach behaviors to any child through lecturing method. Children learn behaviors through indirect ways, such as simulation, storytelling, games, and etc. Communication with children must be free of any kind of violence. Added to that, child protection workers should understand that children have the right to express themselves and be heard. Children have the right to obtain the information necessary to form their own views and opinions. Those working with children must act as advocates for children and help them to find solutions to their problems and set their priorities. Children should be handled by a trained and highly qualified team. Working and communicating with children is accompanied by ethical requirements. Therefore, the principle of do no harm and the best interests of the child should be observed. Now, you may ask, what are the characteristics of the people who work with children? Child protection workers should be able to deal with children in a friendly and appropriate manner. They should be able to use phrases and concepts suitable to child's age stage of development. They should accept and understand the fact that a child who has been exposed to traumatic experience may find it difficult to trust any unknown adult, and it may take a long time before the child feels confident enough to communicate openly. Added to that, child protection workers should take the following points into consideration. Using simple language appropriate to children's age, while maintaining a friendly formal framework. Giving opportunities to children to express what is on their minds, such as concerns, questions, and etc. They should be compassionate, kind, and patient. When dealing with children, we should avoid using interrogation method with children or asking questions in a way that forces children to lie or to contradict themselves. They should avoid making assumptions about what the child is thinking or feeling. They should avoid showing frustration or doubts. They should avoid rushing to judgment. They should avoid forcing the child to talk about specific ideas or solutions, or forcing the child to reveal information. Also, avoid making false promises, leaving the child while talking about a painful story. Avoid increasing child's anxiety. Avoid interrupting the child while talking or answering questions, even if what says does not fit the topic of the session or the activity. Also, child protection workers should avoid ignoring signs of boredom, such as a paling face, refraining from speaking, and etc. Avoid using closed questions that only allow the child to answer yes or no. Avoid not answering the questions the child asks. Now, let's move to the most important part in this topic, which is communication techniques. Good communication skills include using three main techniques. The first is verbal communication technique. The second is nonverbal communication technique. The third is active listening technique. Using these three techniques during communication with children is enough to build trust and good interaction between child protection workers and children, regardless of the session, activity, or program. Let's explain each technique in detail. The first, verbal communication techniques, which means how to speak. You should know that the tone of your voice, time of speaking, speed of speaking, and volume level all are important factors in trust building, conveying feelings, conveying meanings, and interaction between you and children. For example, speaking in a calm, reassuring voice indicates that you are non-judgmental and supportive. Speaking slowly and comfortably with silence creates space for the other person to open up and express himself or herself. Speaking slower than usual in a calm voice makes you easily understand and indicates that you are comfortable and have time to give to the other person. Speaking more calmly and kindly than usual can be reassuring and indicate that you are listening and care. Added to these 4 points in verbal techniques, using the right question in the right place and time is something important. In this regard, you should know that there are 3 types of questions. Each has its advantages and disadvantages. The first type is called closed questions, which require yes or no answers. For example, did you go to school today? Are you hungry? And etc. While the second type is called open questions, which require more than yes or no answers. For example, do you love your friends? Where did you go yesterday? And etc. And the third type is called directed questions, in which you ask a question and give some direction to the answer. For example, you ask, you love your uncle the most, don't you? Instead of saying, who do you love the most? And etc. As we mentioned, each of these 3 types has its advantages and disadvantages. For example, the closed question may force the child to lie by answering quickly yes or no. Same with the open questions. This type of questions may not work with shy children. Thus, you should select the right type for the right place and right time. Second, the nonverbal techniques, which refer to the body language, face features, and visual communication. During communication with children, you should also use these 3 properly. Here are some points you should do to enhance your body language, face features, and visual communication. You should use calm and relaxed body language. Open body language without folded arms or legs. Eye contact that convey emotions, such as smiling with the eyes. Encouraging facial expressions, such as nodding and smiling. Sit at child's level, facing the child. Added to these, there are some acts and deeds which send wrong signals. You should avoid doing them. Here they are. Standing too close to the child and not giving the child enough personal space. Inappropriate touching. You should take in consideration the child's culture. Using hand or arm gestures that may appear scary or aggressive. You should avoid staying away or turning your back away from the child. Avoid standing above the child's level. Lack of eye contact with the child is something not correct. Rigged and tense body is something not correct, and etc. Moving to the third technique, which is active listening. And here we have a question. How do I make a child feel that I am listening to him or to her? The answer is using these 4 points. First, using confirmation, which means using words or signals to show the child that I am listening, such as saying yes, okay, fine, or nodding. Second, using clarification, which means asking for more information or detail about something the child said, even if you know the answer. Third, using reflection, which means imitating or repeating what the child said. Fourth, summarizing or summing up, which means paraphrasing what the child said to show that you are listening to him or to her. Using these 4 listening points definitely will make the child feels that you are a good listener. Anyway, whenever you communicate with a child, no matter what is the activity or program, it is important to use these techniques, the verbal, non-verbal, and listening techniques, plus the other points we presented in this video. No doubt that will lead to trust and positive interaction between you and the child. And the very last point here is, we earlier defined a child as any person under 18 years. But you can divide this period of age to these stages. And you should know that the mindsets, capacities, goals, needs, challenges, problems, all are different from one age stage to another. Thus, you should take in consideration what age stage you are dealing with and use the proper techniques. That was everything from my side about this topic. Now it is time to say thanks very much and see you in the next video.